Make love, not porn! In this section, we're going to talk about expectations, which are huge when it comes to relationships and sexual encounters. To make my point a little bit clearer, we're going to show this nice little film. No, next one.
No, next one. Sorry.
Okay.
Porn is different from sex in real life. Let's find out how. Porn star penises are 6 to 9 inches. Civilian penis, 5 to 7. And while porn stars have very little hair down there, in real life 65% of women and 85% of men do. Indeed, female porn privates tend to sport a similar look. But real-world vaginas come in all shapes, sizes and colours. As for arousal, real people need 10 to 12 minutes to get going, while porn stars... Male performers can hump for days, but in real life 75% of men ejaculate within 3 minutes. And though porn stars seem to always have an orgasm through penetration alone, 71% of women don't. Now what about all the other stuff? Unlike porn stars, only 11.5% of women have had a same-sex experience. And only 40% of women have tried anal. Just 22% say they'll take a hot load in the face. And only 30% will actually swallow said load. The portion of women who've been in a threesome is less than 20%. And while the internet is awash in female squirters, only 6% of women say they regularly gush balls. Finally, what about light bondage? Well, only 40% have tried it. Wait, that's actually quite a lot. So there you go. That's the difference between porn sex and real sex. Feeling hungry?
So what very nicely is talking about is that porn is not reality. Just in the same way that Transformers is a movie, so is porn. The downside to your generation is that the majority of your sexual education is coming from porn. There's nothing intrinsically wrong with porn, it's that it's a movie. Everything being done is being done because there's a camera and someone's going to be watching it. It is not reality. It is really important to make that distinction, especially given that most of you are just starting out having sex and having relationships. So we're going to talk a little bit more about expectations and reality. So expectations and reality, it goes beyond just porn and into Hollywood. How you go into a relationship and what you're wanting from a person is really important. You need to start talking to yourself and actually exploring what it is that you actually want. You're going to have to talk to people, which is like, oh my gosh. But you're going to have to get off the screen and start talking to people. Part of the disadvantage right now is that sex is everywhere. And it's seen and treated as the be-all, end-all of life. It isn't. It absolutely isn't. The importance that's placed on the sex needs to come from you. And your motivations behind what you're doing need to be very, very much in tune with yourself and what you think you're doing to other people. You need to be aware of what you're doing to other people because it actually does affect them. And as I said, porn isn't inherently bad, it's just not a good source for sexual education. It's not sex, it's a movie. So it's just really important to start going out there and having your own experiences, talk to each other, and talk to your partner. It's that simple, but at the same time it's not, because we're not doing it, which is why we have all of these problems. Part of it, and moving on a little bit, porn is not real sex. Movies are not real sex. How your expectations versus how reality go are two completely different creatures. You're real people. You're going to react to things as real people. What you do to people is going to have the same sort of effect. The effects are real and they're permanent. So the best thing I can tell you though, as far as like, what do I do? And like, how do I make sure that I'm going to succeed? You don't. The best piece of advice I can give you, experiment. Go in with as open a mind as you can possibly fathom. And basically just try and have a good time. Treat each other with respect, which is a terrifying concept in this day and age. Part of it you have to keep in mind is that the number of people developing empathy is going down because you do not develop empathy when interacting with a screen. You develop it by actually interacting with other people. That's part of it. You're at a disadvantage because you were the first generation to actually be raised on screens. So you have this kind of jump start you need to make as far as you need to start talking to people and actually interacting with them and treat them exactly as you'd like to be treated. Hopefully that's a good thing to do, depending on how you want to be treated. So we're going to move on to my very favorite section,